Evening all, so here we go. It's almost out. It's almost here. Now, it's been such a long journey, so we're just going to use this last video to conclude what have we seen and what are we experiencing in the beta, what rather have we experienced in the beta, and what possibly are we going to be experiencing in the full game, which is out imminently, which is obviously quite exciting. So let's review what happened. Beta came upon us. It was something that you had to pre-order the game for to get early access to, and then you had to effectively do... I'm just wondering why I'm stood still. I must have been slurping my tea. Apologies for that. Anyway, let's listen to the audio. What we effectively did was we pre-ordered. Bam Havoc gave us a code as well, so that was good. So we actually got in pretty early on, and then we were able to experience the game. And the game pretty much was, I think, really a fantastic kind of open world linear shooter to begin with, because it did have a linear feel to it. And as I was walking through the wall, I was thinking to myself, uh-oh, here we go. Oh, it's another bloody linear one. And then you got into the actual Cosmodrome, and you realise, wow, actually, this is a huge open area. There's a lot more here than maybe we realised. And I thought that's got to be something quite interesting, that you actually will have open world sandbox versus player scripted as well. So it's a bit Borderlands, I remember thinking. Now this obviously then translated further into the game and what we then ended up doing in the game, and I think there was always a fascinating kind of skill tree. So the skill tree was interesting. It had a lot of interesting points on it. You felt like you unlocked abilities as you went, because you did, and that was also really nice, because it felt like you were rewarded. Hey, you're pretty good at this game, here you go, this gives you the ability to jump double, or this gives you the ability to do that, or it gives you the ability to do this. And that again is an incredible empowering part of gameplay, is the feeling of progression. I think also what they've done quite well is that the enemies are actually quite interesting. They're a little bit cartoony, I do agree, but I think also that probably means that it's a bit less for mature audiences entirely, which is not a terrible thing. Well, I don't know. Maybe post in the comments, tell me what you think. Is it going to be a bit too kiddie? Maybe, I don't know. But from what I saw, I didn't feel I was playing a kids game. I thought I was playing Halo with a party hat on, and that's really what I thought. I thought it was just that kind of thing. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this one pans out. I think a lot of people will probably throw their all into this game. And it really does depend what else then comes along, which could possibly take its pride of place, I guess. Because if there's going to be a bigger game coming, a month after it, that could pretty damage it. But I think you're going to have to cover, kind of bear in mind there's going to be Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. That's looking pretty good. That will take players from this game. But I suspect if they're clever with this game, they could turn it into something that has a continuing MMO aspect, which I believe they are. They're going to do things like raids. They're going to do things like the maps will be open to you to explore fully. And the maps are huge. They are literally huge. So I think there's definitely a kind of scope there to make this game something that you play for a long time. There's also going to be an interesting kind of, I guess, review of the game to see how it works across all the platforms. Having not placed their flag in the ground from one console, that does mean that you're then going to have, I guess, every console playing this. So does this mean that this might become one of the games that people put on their PS3 or their Xbox 360? Which is maybe their secondary console now, which they have in bed or they have in their living room, whatever. And then this becomes something that they play on the sofa or in bed or whatever. So to me, it's almost like they've kind of been quite clever by putting it on all platforms, because the potential is that people are going to make this. It's mine. It's how I do it. So I have my main console in my area where I record. But I also have then a second PS3 in my living room where I can sit on my sofa and veg out and play, basically reclined almost. And that is exactly the kind of gaming experience that I quite enjoy. So to me, I'm really quite kind of happy that this is going to be the way it is. You can then switch from one to the other as well, which is pretty awesome. So I think that's going to be, an interesting one to see how maybe people do it, because it could become more of a casual game, like World of Warcraft, but you have to sit at a desk. Do you know what I mean? That requirement to sit at the desk has always been a bit of a pain, whereas the ability to maybe recline on your sofa and play a you know, quote, an MMO RPG, that's going to be pretty interesting. So I think there could be a real there could be a real kind of interesting future in this game if it can hit that kind of comfortable niche. The looting mechanics are fantastic. I think the game generally is very good. It seems very well programmed. It seems incredibly stable. I think the PvP did need some work from what others have told me. Again, I didn't even get to that point. But I think generally the game is looking rather good. And I think this could well be one of those games that I just think changes again the, you know, I don't want to say the zeitgeist, but it could certainly change the way that games are created, because yes, it's been a phenomenally expensive game to create. I think it is the most expensive game ever at $500 million. So that's £300 million to create this game. And I think that alone, I'm waiting to see that, because at the moment I don't see that. This feels no different to a game that cost $1 million to make. So do you know what I mean? I want to see that extra level of depth that will blow me away. And if I don't see that, then I think this game will be marked failure, because it's like Grand Theft Auto 5. If you look at the GTA 5, it is an incredibly deep, incredibly immersive, and an incredibly well put together game. And when you remember the multiplayer of that and how that worked, and you remember just generally how it generally all felt, it was just an absolutely astonishingly good game. And you could see there was, you know, $300 million put into that game, because that was incredibly designed and detailed. I'm still waiting to see that from Destiny, because at the moment we've only seen certain elements of it, but hopefully we're going to see something that is really, really immersive, interesting, divisive, and fun. So there we go. It's almost here. I think if you know, if you're still not happy and you're still suffering and you want to play, then just go and look at the old videos we've got up on this playlist. Otherwise, we will see you in Destiny.